Eric Branch here of Saint Discussions on Strike 7 Sports. In today's video, I just want to talk about a recent article that was put out by NFL writer from the Bleach Report, Matt Holder, and it talks about one player each NFL team should put on the 2023 trade block this preseason. So I'm just go ahead and read the opening paragraph of why this article was written. Quote, now that the first week of preseason games is done, expect to start hearing some trade rumors throughout the NFL in the coming weeks. A few end of training camp trades occur every year as coaching staffs across the league get a better grasp of what their best 53-man roster looks like and which players are expendable. Here we'll take a look at one player on each team who should hit the trading block before the end of August. All players selected are veterans who have a young player behind or ahead of them on the depth chart and likely carrying an expiring contract but could still provide value to another club. So right now, if you I'm gonna have the article posted in the description box, but right now they're saying that Matt is saying that the Saints should move Jameis Winston, and I got the screenshot of why um Matt said that. All right, give me a second. So he says, "quote It feels like Jameis Winston has been a topic of trade conversations for several years now, even going back to his days with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, that comes with the territory of being such a volatile player. The quarterback has had plenty of highs, but his lows include a dirty interception season in 2019. That was the most of any quarterback since 1980. In the present day, Winston is expected to sit behind free agent addition Derek Carr while entering a contract year. Riding the bench isn't one way for him to build his value as a 30-year-old on the open market, and constantly up against the cap New Orleans Saints. Hold on. Against the cap New Orleans Saints should Holloway will save about 7.3 million in 2024 dead cap space by trading him. If another team's option starter goes down over the next few weeks, the Saints should pick up the phone and see if they're interested in adding the low floor, high ceiling Winston. End quote. All right, man. So those are the words of Bleach Report, um, NFL writer Matt Holder. Now, this is my pushback against that article. Not the pushback against the article written, but the pushback on the write up for the Saints and which player they should trade right now. One player they should trade. The Saints, in my opinion, are not in position to trade nobody right now. Plain and simple. They're not in the position to trade no player right now. And I say that because the depth chart, the way this roster has been constructed right now, the depth on it is not as strong as it was a few years ago under head coach Sean Payton. It's just not, to me, in my opinion. So you need all the quality depth, all the quality starters you can get right now for this season. Maybe next year you can go into the next off season you can go into moving players and getting younger and things like more younger and things like that. But right now, the Saints just not in a position to do that right now, especially at the quarterback position. Especially Jake Haener, I thought he played okay in the preseason opener, but he's not ready to be the quarterback two, QB2 for the Saints behind Derek Carr. Maybe that it becomes a time when he does assume that position, but which will most likely be next season. But right now, for this year, it's James Winston's job. It is his, and I would hate for the Saints to trade Jameis Winston during the preseason and elevate Jake Haener to that number 2 spot. And God forbid, and if Derek Carr goes down, you got a undersized rookie QB playing behind a bad offensive line, a potential weak offensive line, that offensive line that has some leaks in it. We don't know for sure right now. They didn't look too bad in the preseason game, but that's only preseason, you know. But you don't want that. And last I heard today is that Cesar Ruiz left training camp early because of a shoulder injury. So that's more players hurt. So we don't need an undersized QB, not named Drew Brees, working behind that offensive line. You don't need that. Number 2, you take Taysom Hill out of his element to be a quarterback. Now I know Taysom Hill has a winning record as a quarterback and has done pretty well. When he has the right resources around him and the coaching and the play calling. But do we really want to see Taysom Hill back there at quarterback? Do we really want to see that? For real. Taysom Hill, in my opinion, is better served. He's a better weapon for the Saints when he is playing his jack of all trades role, the Joker role. But for now, man, no, the Saints should not trade Jameis Winston. The Saints should not trade nobody right now. It's just that simple. You want to go out and get somebody? Continue doing what you're doing right now, which is using your salary cap space to acquire players. You got $9 million in cap space. You don't need to trade. If you trade Jameis Winston, you hurt this roster. You really do. And it's just not the right move to make right now. And that's why, man, I'm not knocking Matt Holder for writing this, but could they at least, do a little research on these teams before, writing an analysis on which players they should trade. Do a little research. Find out what the situation is first, man, before going by a narrative that's already been put out there. The narrative about the Saints saving cap space. That $7.3 million ain't nothing. And I wonder if Matt knows that Jameis got his salary cap, his cap number significantly reduced compared to what it was. So that $7 million, I mean, it would add to the Saints cap space, but it really ain't hurting them right now. It really ain't. So you need to have, based on where this team is right now with these injuries, you need to have all the quality depth that you can have right now on this roster. And Jameis is a part of that quality depth that I'm talking about. So no, they should not trade Jameis Winston. They should not trade nobody. I repeat. Saints it's not in a position to be trading nobody right now. And that was the first preseason game of the season, of the 2023 season. First preseason game. Who knows what it'll look like to sit the next preseason game. Next preseason game, you're playing against another good team, good football team. Hopefully we can see a bigger sample size of Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Jake Haener. But I do believe Haener has a chance to be the future of this team. I do. But right now, I would say he's better served as QB3. That's why I said before in a previous video that I made to not get caught up in Saints training camp hype. And this is why, because it can be deceptive. You know what I'm saying? Because you got quarterbacks like, Jake Haener, and everybody else, Jake Haener, Jameis Winston. Everybody looks good in training camp.